U equals U is an overwhelming win. Win. It's, it's a double barrel shot at controlling HIV/AIDS, and I'll say it explicitly. You know it, but let's say it so that it's here on the record. We will have in society a productive group that, instead of draining society in the sense of healthcare costs, that they will be actually putting into the economy of society. At the same time, by those individuals having an undetectable viral load, it is one of the most powerful ways to prevent the transmission of infection and keep other people from winding up living with HIV. I think when the history of great public health accomplishments are going to be written, I'll guarantee you it may not be universally accepted now, but U equals U is going to be right up there.
Yeah.
I think it's a win-win. I think it always has been. We've always felt that if people who are infected are on treatment, it's, as you recall from the very early days, or even just 10 years ago, treatment as prevention. Treatment reduces the virus in your blood. It can be prevention. It can be life-saving. It's both at the same time. So once somebody is on treatment for a lifetime, it allows them to live their life as they would have wanted without HIV. And so I think that's important. And it's also about protecting partners and protecting those you love. And having no virus in the blood or undetectable through the tests being used means that one can have that life with the partners, with your family members, etc., that one would like to have. So I think it's always been there, and I think if it also can encourage people to commit to staying on therapy for life, that's also a really win-win out of that.
It's a win-win. It's a game-changing win-win. It's such an amazing movement, and that's why UNAIDS is so proud to officially endorse, stand behind U equals U. And actually, U equals U is even mentioned in the high-level meeting political declaration for the first time. We've got the JIPA principle and U equals U in an official UN declaration adopted and negotiated by member states at the General Assembly. So it's not only something that we were inspired by and fully supportive of, it's actually our marching orders as the entire UN system, and for all member states. They need to be implementing U equals U. They need to be celebrating it, trumpeting it, and advocating about it, because we can spend billions of dollars on really expensive programs and really complicated health systems and mobilizing millions of tablets or injections, and all of that is life-saving and vital work. But to reduce or eliminate the stigma and the discrimination that people living with HIV face every day because they're too afraid of their friends or their family or their sexual partner finding out that they have HIV, and therefore it's easier to hide in the shadows than come forward and access life-saving services and have a normal sex life, a normal, stigma-free, open, happy, positive sex life. It's something that is a fundamental human right that all people living with HIV should be able to enjoy. And I really am, I'm not only hopeful, but I'm confident that U equals U is a game changer to make that possible for all people living with HIV. The most important part of U equals U is the quality of life and the contribution it makes to fight stigma and discrimination related to people living with HIV. But U equals U also has a profound positive epidemiological impact, because people living with HIV who know their status, who are on treatment, who have undetectable viral loads, can be absolutely certain, unquestionable. The science is clear, and it has been clear for years, that someone who is undetectable and still remains HIV positive or living with HIV cannot sexually transmit HIV to their sexual partner, even if they're not using a condom. So the science is clear. It's part of the official WHO, UNAIDS, Tony Fauci endorsed National Institutes of Health, U.S. domestic HIV strategy. It's the best of HIV science at work. And now our challenge is to make sure that all the almost 10 million people living with HIV that still are not on life-saving antiretroviral treatment immediately know their status, immediately get access to the best of antiretroviral medications and also can benefit from U equals U.
No, it's a win for everybody, and it's a win for society. It's a win for funders. It's a win-win-win-win-win-win. I mean, we could probably list a 30, 40, 100 different wins. But U equals U is an example of something that it took, with hindsight, too long for that scientifically proven message to become embedded. And I think there is still too much happening, there's too many limitations for people living with HIV. In the UK, we've had successful, changes with the Civil Aviation Authority, with the Ministry of Defence around treating people with HIV like people. And U equals U, I think, is absolutely central to that.
It is a win-win because it's more than a win-win, it's a win-win-win. It's a win first because if people are virally suppressed, they're not going to transmit to their negative partners. That's a win. 2, if you're virally suppressed, you're going to be healthy. You're going to feel good. You're going to live a practically normal lifespan. That's a win. 3, it's a win because it changes the perception and the dialogue around HIV. And we don't have a cure and we don't have a vaccine at this point, but we have this, and we know that this is incredibly powerful. It's not the full answer, PrEP and other things, but it's a game changer.
It's absolutely a win-win. I mean, there is no loser there, right? If we can make it universally accessible, if we can take away the barriers that certain populations face to accessing those services, then it's wonderful. It means that people living with HIV have a much improved quality of life, much less stress when it comes around thoughts of having sex with people and the fear of infecting somebody else. And for people who aren't infected but in a committed relationship with somebody who is, knowing that's just not an issue anymore. So I think, as I say, we've got to put the structures in place now. I think, to me, the HIV response now has to move out of the clinic even more than it has already. There's a whole economic aspect to it as well that isn't just even about a single country, but it's global. And if we're spending fewer resources on treatment because we have fewer people becoming infected, because we have so many people who are undetectable, that gives us more resources to put into the other stuff, like changing bad laws and addressing stigma and discrimination. So I think it's kind of like a win-win-win, where there's the micro level benefits and as well as the macro.
It's an absolute win-win. So I think the message needs to get out there that if you're on treatment, you can live a full and healthy life. So I think that's what it means.
No losers with U equals U. And I think we embrace that and we live that. Our program documents that. And you can just tell with the treatment success we have that U equals U is the way forward.
Win-win is common sense. When people with HIV have what we need to stay healthy, the treatment, care, and services, we not only can live a full life, but we don't transmit HIV. That's a win for us. That's a win for public health. It's the way to end the epidemic. So now we know investing in our health is everything. It's our time.
It's just like black and white. Keep us on treatment, we end HIV. That's it. Keep us on treatment, we end HIV. Give us access, give us care. Let us have the benefit of a lifestyle that we want to have, that we desire for our lives, for our partners, and we will end HIV because, like I said, the virus is not coming from the air. It's coming from somewhere. If you can contain it, I don't want to use the word contain. If you can keep people with HIV safe and they can achieve U equals U, the virus will not spread anymore. It's literally that simple.